Looks like we have people here from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from the United States. So very nice. So we have a very interesting company here today. The company participates in X Culture for the first time. So to be honest, I also have very limited knowledge about the company other than the conversations I had with the co-founders. And it's one of those companies that is sort of on the cutting edge of using AI. So AI, everyone talks about it, but few know how to use it. And here we have Qualz.AI that actually develops it. So develops tools around AI. So not only they, like myself, type the prompts and get some answers from ChatGPT or Gemini, they actually create AI tools. And they work with all kinds of companies. There may be even a market in academic world. So for you students, it will be relatively easy to access potential customers or distributors or partners for market research. So hopefully that will be interesting to gain that experience for you. But also, who knows, maybe some of you will even become customers of Qualz.AI. So the tools seem to be very relevant to just about anyone, any white collar or academic type of job. So we'll see what we have. So I will turn the microphone to the co-founders, Prajwal Padyal and Tashi Gurunf, and ask maybe to do a quick introduction of the company product and maybe you two as co-founders. But then we do have a lot of questions already for you from those who could not join us live. And then students, you have the chat where you can post your questions. I'll monitor it. And then obviously you have your microphones and cameras, so feel free to switch those on and join the discussion after the short presentation. So Prajwal, Tasha, the microphone is yours. Tell us a little bit more to begin this discussion.
All right. Yeah, I can kick us off. Thank you, Dr. Tara. So I'm Prajwal. I'm a co-founder and CEO for Qualz.AI. And my background is mostly in artificial intelligence and putting it to use for research, like market research, product research. And that's also the thesis for Qualz.AI. We essentially build AI agents for interviewing for in-depth interviews for stakeholders in order to learn and collect evidence for growth for our customers, which are the various organizations. So I'll pass it on to Tashi.
My name is, hello everyone. My name is Tashi Wongdegro. I'm an anthropologist by training. So unlike
Anthropologist.
yeah.
Oh, that's a
So
leap to AI.
right.
Okay.
So unlike Brazil, I don't have technical background, but I do have background in anthropology, qualitative research, just like across disciplines, academia, nonprofit, government, and in the industry. So yeah, here we are. And for those of you who are familiar with the US calendar, it's a Labor's Day weekend coming up.
Yeah.
And the reason Qualts.ai exists is to make the labor less intense, for all the people. Because, whatever people are doing right now to get insights, whether from students, customers, or users, it's a very tedious process, right? It takes hours and days to just
Oh,
interview,
yes.
survey, and analyze and transcribe all that. So a lot of labor goes into it. What we're trying to do is, and like Dr. Tharos was confused as an anthropologist, what am I doing here? We actually believe in human voices. And we believe that with AI, you can reach to more voices, you can hear to more voices, so you can serve better, to the users, customers, students, whatever. So with this introduction, we can Brazil can talk a little bit about what we actually do, and then I can chime in. But also, we look forward to questions from students.
Gentlemen, I actually do have a few questions sent to me by the students who have classes. And maybe if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask them just to set the stage. So several
Sure.
students asked, what does the name mean? Why is it Qualz? Well, AI is clear, but what does Qualz mean? Does it have any background story or just a nice sound?
Yeah, so it's a play on qualitative research and
Ah,
just going from A to Z. So we put the Z in there to sort of just have that feeling of the end-to-end platform. Because our big thesis is that there's so many tools currently involved in this process. So we counted with a customer one time, and they were using 15 to 17 tools for the entire process. So we wanted to be sort of that A to Z platform for anything involving like human voices, qualitative research.
That's actually clever. And another question again before we start talking about the product. So you started the company together not long ago. You are essentially where most of our students want to be. So we did surveys, and most of them want to start their own business. So what prompted you to start your own company as opposed to take the more conventional corporate route? You're a smart man. I'm sure you would have found jobs at top companies for a salary. So why your own business? What were the challenges starting it? Any regrets maybe so far? So I know it's difficult, as they joke. Entrepreneurs sleep like babies, wake up every few hours, cry a little, and then sleep some more. So, how's it going for you as entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I can kick that off and I'll pass it on to Tashi. We have like very different stories of how we ended up here. So I was consulting at a management consulting firm. I was at Deloitte specifically. I was working
Ah,
with.
that's what I was talking about. Top consultant companies. So, sure, you could have been very successful there, probably would have made partners soon. So, why then take the risk of starting your own company?
Yeah, so I mean, in the context of a consulting company, you could do some projects, but essentially, at the end of the day, it's about selling sort of like human services, right? So that's the business model, and also there is that entire, I mean, trying to make a giant ship sort of move in a particular direction. It's very difficult. It's just in the realm of startups where you can be nimble and learn very quickly from customers and build around it, right? So we just felt like the startup was the right vehicle to bring this to market. And now, as far as the opportunity cost, so there'll always be that opportunity cost, but there's also another metric that I like to think about, which is like maximal regret minimization. So, like later on in your life, like you always will have that inkling that, hey, maybe I should have done it, right? So like it's worth like putting like 100% and see what happens. Especially when you see the light and it is something you wanna give a shot. And early inklings of like impact that we could make that really drove us. So when we had some early customers and we saw the current processes and the transformation we can bring to the field, so that was evidence enough for at least for me to like kind of just jump on board.
Okay. Okay. Well, tell us more about your products then. So I know AI-assisted job interviews is one of the products, but there is a wider range of services and products that you offer. So tell us about that.
Sure, I'd love to also include like Tashi's and journey there as well. If you
Oh, yes,
wanna,
yes, please, please.
yeah,
Tashi,
go ahead.
what's your perspective on that? Sorry to
Okay,
jump.
so I was gonna chime in anyway because we know the students here are, future entrepreneurs, right? And I think for entrepreneurs, it's really important to know where the motivation, where the idea comes from, right? And credit where it's due. I didn't start it, Prozil started it, but Prozil and my relationship goes way beyond this professional, right? We both came to the United States as a student, and we got bonded over disaster in a sense that, we're both from Nepal, and our country went through this major disaster back in 2015, major earthquake. I was in Minnesota, he was in Arizona, two complete spectrum, but we're all doing something. As they say, disaster bring people together, right? That's where we first met, is with the effort to do something for the victims of earthquake. But that's a start of the relationship, but not this professional, right? Later, when Prozil reached out and asked about, hey, can you tell me a little bit about qualitative research and how human gain insight from another human? He first listened to me and then told me this idea about using AI to streamline it. And obviously, I had hesitations because, qualitative research, which essentially involves having conversation with the people that you serve, right? And just the idea of AI. being able to do that, just I could not fathom it. But I kept an open mind, and I think this is important for all the future entrepreneurs, right? Like you might not believe in something, something might seem too bizarre, but always keep an open mind, right? So that's what I did, and after back and forth, I saw the potential, and that's a problem we're seeing today in AI's world. Is a lot of people are talking about AI, but they're making a lot of assumptions and judgment before even trying it, right? At least try it, use it, see if it works for yourself. Then you'll have a clearer idea. But that was the birth of Qualz.AI, is basically keep an open mind, really have this passion to do something about a problem that we have experienced and know firsthand, right? And I know for a fact that people could use this product to make their life easier, to have maximum impact of their work, right? And at Qualz.ai, we really mean it when we say our goal is to democratize access to qualitative research, in another sense, insights from another human, by removing all those bottlenecks. Right now, you have to think about the cost, the time, the expertise that you need to talk to another human and, systematically process that information. With Qual today, we don't replace human, but we make human a lot more capable, increase their bandwidth. So yeah, that was the birth of Qualz.ai. It wasn't easy, but we had a goal, a very clear goal, and it just took this long to translate that to a product that people can actually use.
So
So
you gentlemen went to the same school? You met at the same university, or you were separated by geography?
at first, we were separated by geography. Then the fate happens that, Brazil was in Arizona. I was applying for a PhD and I
Uh-huh,
went to Arizona. And so I
uh-huh,
contacted him, hey, for students, you just need room and boarding and all this other
uh-huh,
information.
uh-huh,
But as fate would have it, it happened, COVID happened, and I didn't get to see him in
uh-huh,
person. So until then it was pretty much like online dating, just
uh-huh.
talking a lot on Facebook Messenger, Teams, and all that. And actually the first time we met face to face is on a conference about consumer insights
Uh-huh.
in
Interesting.
DC or somewhere. Yeah,
And where do you reside now? I know you both are in the United States, but what states or state?
I'm in New York and Brazil is in Ohio.
So you are still separate locations. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, tell us more about your products then.
Yeah, I can take that. So, product wise, so as the name suggested, right, we want to be there for the entire journey. And right now, the features or the products that you can use is once you, let's say, you have an idea or you want to validate a particular customer segment or thesis for creating a product or service. We have what is called AI audience. So
Mhm.
essentially, you can create a lot of AI personas that mimic like any of your target customer base, right? So let's say you don't have time to interview like 30 people in every segment that you could go in. You could easily do that in just hours by the AI audience, and that's how people are using it is for the first pulse of getting that insight, right? And then you still have to validate it in the real world. So I'm exposing the products in terms of the customer journey, right? And then you might send like surveys and interviews to either your AI personas, or you might send these surveys or interviews to real people in your, let's say, your primary network, your LinkedIn, like your customer database you already have in your CRM. So we have these AI moderated interviews, which is kind of like reverse ChatGPT. It's voice based. You configure an agent from whatever context that you're in, give it a lot of information, and this is an unbiased agent that can go and have these back and forth conversations with thousands of customers at the same time, right? It speaks all languages pretty much, and then it'll give you all these transcripts, right? Similar for surveys as well. So that's another product line. And after all that data comes into your dashboard, then you can say, hey, I want to look at this data, get some themes out of it, right? Or I want to do a framework-based analysis because I love jobs to be done framework, for example, right? I want to understand what jobs customers of our customers, right, are trying to do. So you can do this analysis lenses, it would what we call them. So you can do very, very powerful analysis on your transcripts. You can also go in and start chatting with your projects, your studies, and that is our chat with your data feature, right? So I think that kind of rounds it up, and we're also adding in a few new features, which we provide as a service right now, which are like recruiting. So if you
Mm-hmm.
want to, if you don't have reach to your customers, right, you can use our platform to find the profiles according to your study, and then just blast out the study to a lot of people at the same time.
So let me clarify a couple of things. So one scenario, as I understand, is essentially interviewing people. The typical
Right.
sort of scenario is, and students, if you applied for jobs, you probably have experienced it. But likewise, if you have a company and tried to hire someone, you experience the problem that a job opening goes online and within hours you have hundreds of applicants, and obviously
Right.
nobody has time to interview them, not even time to review the CVs and interviews. I
Hmm.
mean, it would be weeks and weeks. And the other way around, so for the applicants, again, it could be overwhelming, could be difficult. Plus, again, you submit your CV, but how much can you communicate through that? And so my understanding is that one of the possible services or products that Qualz.AI offers is essentially AI does the interview for you and then provides some sort of a summary and possibly even identifies the most suitable candidates. Is that how it works, or it's a little different?
So we build the product more for feedback of existing products or discovery of customers, right? So that
Uh-huh.
top end of the innovation cycle, so to speak, right?
Hmm.
Or right now, if you look at where the industry is, especially in, let's say, like you're building a product or an app or something, if you want to build, it's gotten so much faster to build your product because of AI, right? You have all these AI engineers, you can use Claude Code. I'm sure like you
Yep.
guys have been toying with that as well, or Cursor and stuff like that, Lovable. There's like so many
Hmm.
tools that help you just get your prototype MVP out very soon. But do you know you're building the right thing, right? What problem is it solving? What is the entire
Hmm.
customer journey? Because you need to know that for marketing, right? You need to know where to find the people that you'll eventually sell to. What is the distribution channels? So that whole piece of understanding the customer is sort of left behind. And that's where we're specialized for. Now, we do have some customers that use it for initial screening, for job interviews, because it's not that different, right? It's a bunch of questions. AI can parse through that, and you can define how you want the lens to be, as in like how do you want it analyzed, right? So you could easily do, I want to find out like segments in my applicants, or I want
Right,
to
right, right.
find like a culture fit, right? You can all do all that, but that's not essentially what we're specialized for, if that makes sense.
That makes sense
And
perfectly. Yes, go ahead,
I
Tashi.
would like to give a little bit of a bird's eye view, right? Like whenever you're curious and you wanna ask, you have questions in your mind and you need to talk to people to get that answer, right? What is the first thing that you do? You have a question, right? That question would be your research objectives, that whatever you want to know. And then you will design the study, whatever it is, whether it's a focus group, survey,
Mhm.
or interview. Right. So at Qualz.AI, we also have a research design where you can design your research. The next step is to find participant. Again, like Prajal said, we have that recruitment as well, right? If you need. The third step is to deploy the study and scheduling and all that. That all goes away. You can deploy
Uh-huh.
seamlessly from our platform. And instead of you being there, the AI is there for you,
Okay, so
right?
it can be
Interviewing
any
people.
type of interview then,
Right.
as you
It's
said,
configurable according to
discovery,
your taste.
consumer
Yeah,
tastes.
100%.
How
But that
about
doesn't
academic
stop there,
research?
right?
How about
Right.
academic research? So, for example, a
100%.
developing story, one of my PhD students collected qualitative data. So, she's doing a study on family business, specifically when the family business goes from one generation to the next, from the father to the son, so to speak. And she interviewed a bunch of people, rather, actually surveyed them with open ended questions. And so they wrote pages and pages of text, but now she needs to analyze those data,
Yeah.
find common themes. Is that something we can basically pay you to analyze? Is that an option?
So again, There's two ways of getting data. One, through our platform.
Uh-huh.
Your student could use our platform to interview their participants. But we don't stop there. If you have talked to them in person, Zoom, elsewhere, you have a recording, audio, video, you can upload that as well, right? So
Hmm.
that's data collection. But you still need to get the analysis out of it,
Right,
right?
right.
And we can do that in Qualz.ai. The same interview transcript that you have gathered from Qualz.ai or uploaded, and you get the analysis. So this is my point. Is like when I was a researcher, I had to depend on multiple platforms to conduct one research end to end, right? I had to depend on Teams, Zoom, back then Skype for interview. And then I had to get the data out of that and then transcribe it. After the transcription is done, I had to use another platform for analysis. And then another platform to write report or generate images or Sankey chart or bar charts. Qualls.ai, like Brazil said, the reason we have Z at the end is A to Z,
Yeah.
meaning we are a comprehensive one-stop shop when you want to do qualitative research. And like you said, with the analysis, we have thematic analysis, but we also have over 13 different frameworks that you can use to analyze, depending on your research objectives, your disciplines. Academic would most likely use thematic analysis,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a product researcher for concept testing would probably use jobs to be done. They want to identify. So we've thought about all this and how it can be applied for different people still doing qualitative research.
I see. I see. Yeah. So the customers, then I can see how that can be marketing experts, company owners, but also academics. But so, what are the type of customers that you normally target at this time? And I assume there may be even more markets that you haven't tried yet.
Yeah, 100%. So we actually opened up the platform to be self-serve. So the data we have is split. Like people, we have some entrepreneurs using it, some founders, some mid-market like product and services teams. We also have academics. So people are using it on their own, but from our outgoing efforts, right? So we have a thesis on um, who makes the most sense at this point, and that's based on how painful is the need, so to speak, right, for them, and once it gets solved, like what is the return on investment of not just their money but their time, right? So we really want to work with people that have this pain. It's kind of like a painkiller, not a vitamin type use case for us, right? So incoming, we have all kinds of people using it, but outgoing, we want to find like mid to let's say like mid to large size enterprises that
Uh-huh.
are trying to either launch a new product, right, or service, or they are like founders that have raised some money and they are trying to take a bet and want to really understand what the implications of the bets are, just get as much information as possible before they go to market. Hope that answers your question, Raj.
It does. So let me then also refine the or take it to the next level. So the first big task for the students in the Qualts company challenge or brief. So we asked them to conduct market research and industry, or basically competition analysis. And then one of the
Right.
questions is try to interview potential users, decision makers, get a better sense of how they use AI. Have they heard about Qualts? Would they be interested in using Qualts products? So who would be then the people that students should target to better understand your sort of customer base? And I hear it both, so it could be individual users, maybe corporate users. So who would be the right decision makers
Yeah,
maybe
so
to
I
interview
mean,
to understand it?
that's great. So we have some hypothesis. We are an earlier stage company, so our
Mhm.
ideal customer profile is not as well refined as, let's say, a Mercedes or something, right? Mercedes is for each line of cars, they know exactly who they're trying to sell to, or even Subaru, right? You see the ads and it just clicks
Yeah.
for some people, but other people it doesn't really make sense. But for us, what we'd really benefit from this collaboration is just trying a few of those, right? We do have hypotheses, so we could do like 80-90% focused on the target customer base that I say, but a little bit of exploration as well, right? Some exploration, exploitation, because I think there are some, like you mentioned earlier, there are some customer bases that, might be even more perfect,
Yeah, that's
right? But,
exactly what I mean.
we just don't know. So I would say what our thesis is right now, where do we want to find customers is in that somebody that has launched a new product or launching a new product in a, let's say like a new geography or something, right?
Uh-huh.
And they absolutely need customer research, and they're probably going to like agencies or something and just going through that slow 6 month long huge burn process, and that's way too slow for them, right? So that's our ideal profile, because then it'll click, right? As soon as we say, hey, you can get your results in a week, that sort of clicks. Or it could be like founders that just raised, let's say like a Series A or Series B or something, right? And they are also trying to take these bets. So they need evidence to not just to convince their stakeholders, but they need evidence for themselves as well, right? So is this the right bet to take? And we can help with that validation, right? So it's a little meta because you guys are helping us with the exact same thing for us, right? But yeah.
So it almost sounds to me like it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe talk to professors and say, this is the functionality, who do you think, or would you be interested? Maybe you mentioned medium and larger enterprises, so maybe talk to the reps of their marketing department or perhaps
Sure.
even some other departments, and again,
Yeah.
get a better sense of how they use AI for qualitative type of analysis, and then see if they might be interested, or at least if they can point students in the
Right.
right direction of who the consumers could be. How about competition? So again, one of the tasks is analyze the market and competition, but which companies would you consider your competitors so that students can go and sort of Google them, compare them to you, strength, weaknesses, pricing models, whatever else? Are there specific companies that you already sort of see that they are dabbling in your sort of space, or, and I assume
Yeah.
there are
So,
many
so
probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, not to bias the answers the students will come up with, because you can come up with, I mean, take the feature set and then start to do some research, and you'll end up in the same companies, hopefully a few more. But there are some startups that do like feature-wise similar things. Like there is a startup called Outset,
Mhm.
and there's another called Convio. So they are kind of in the same space. They're all very early stage like us, right? However, if you ask me that question, I think the status quo is the competition, right? Really want to understand that journey. And if you try to understand the journey, then it's going to be the usual suspects, right? So people don't know that we exist. For example, we're not
Right.
out there in the market, so they might be using ChatGPT for analysis and sort of like banging their head why it's
Yeah.
different every time, that kind of stuff, right? And for data collection, they might be using like Google Forms or surveys, right? Because they just don't know that you can ask like five whys or do in-depth interviews at the scale of surveys and the cost of surveys now, right? Because they're just used to thinking that, oh, in-depth interviews is not for us, right? We can't do that. Or, and we have to hire an agency. We don't have the workforce for it, right? So those kinds of status quo things and how they're doing it right now, I think that is the bigger competition than I would say like any of the other competitors. Because for most people that you introduce us to, it's probably going to be they might have heard about it somewhere that it's possible, but they have not tried it. That's where the industry is right now.
Yeah.
And
Good point.
another thing that could be interesting, like Brazil said, these tools could be our competitors, but I think a lot of people are still um, exploring AI tools and other options, right? So one thing that could be interesting for your students would be to understand what these people are using right now, right? Or what they're doing, where is their workflow. Some people could still be doing manually, and we hear a lot of people saying, "Hey, I use ChatGPT," and
Mhm.
it doesn't realize the trade-off that comes with it
Yeah.
because ChatGPT is a general purpose tool. Qualz.AI is a specific purpose tool, right? So that could be another interesting thing. Okay, there is that competition, but what are people using right now, right? And they could be using very traditional or something, and that would be an aha moment, right? How are people doing this work, or are they even thinking about optimizing or increasing efficiency?
Yeah.
So.
I see this. So let's talk a little bit about pricing. So you do offer a comprehensive solution. I personally see tremendous value. You're right. Maybe some of those things could be done with 5 different tools trying to put them together, but it seems much more efficient to hire a company that has a full product, from scheduling the interviews to the final analysis. How is it priced? So what kind of both price point are we talking about? Is it expensive? Can a smaller company afford it? But also, how is it? What's the pricing strategy? Is it some sort of a subscription fee? Is it per project fee? Is it something else?
Yeah, so pricing wise, like we do have a limited kind of free tier, right? So that was our lead magnet. So we are trying to get like trying to build that awareness. So we'll change the feature set that is available there. So we definitely don't want to start with that, right? So because that's going to probably change in the next couple of months. We have a what we call a professional tier, which is $199, and it's meant for let's say like a single person team or two people that are still working together, but the collaboration is like they have their own workspaces and stuff like that, and they need to collaborate, right? So that's meant for, let's say, a independent solo, like an entrepreneur or a product manager who's the only one that wants to use it, right? So that's the professional tier, and they don't need to stay on the tier. They can either buy an annual subscription for 2 months off, basically like 16 some percent off for the year, or they can just do month by month, right? Because a lot of people are doing projects and they get like these credits for the month, and they'll stay on the platform if they pause their subscription. So they can complete a project, be on subscription until they need it, then pause it, and they can still log in and like look at the studies and stuff. And the other one is the enterprise tier. So the
Mhm.
enterprise tier, we do 5 seats and above only, and we charge per seat for the enterprises, and we have these extra features like workspaces where multiple people can be on a workspace and one person is the billing owner, right? So they are the one that pays it. We have these like secure isolated environments that we can set up. For example, we do have some clients we're in conversation with for Europe. So the entire infrastructure is deployed in Europe, right? So all those are like enterprise tier features, and that's we just need to get on a call to understand sort of what
Mhm.
those requirements are, the volume requirements and stuff, right? So we can provide a little bit of a sample, but so far we've not cracked just here's your enterprise tier cost kind of thing, right? We
Mhm.
just have to converse with them a little bit. Would love to, like get more clarity on it as we talk to more customers.
And that's exactly what my hope is students will also be able to help. Okay, so yes, as you are talking to potential customers, users, students do inquire about their preferred pricing model. So would it be some sort of a fixed subscription per user or would it need to be determined each time based on the project's complexity and the amount of data or some other form? Tell me more about your team. So the two of you co-founders, I assume you have some IT guys who write the code. I'm not sure if there are any other people, or the two of you do most of the work so far. How is it structured? Again, both from the perspective of getting to know your company better, but also for students as they will be starting their own businesses, hopefully sometime in the nearest future, just to get a better sense of how team building works in a startup.
Yeah, yeah. So our team is in the US right now. We have the two of us. Like we started it together, and it was just the two of us for a little bit. And it has helped that I have a technical background, and Tashi is the subject matter expert. So it's a very good combination, right? So one thing I would suggest from just like starting a company is that you need to know the domain that you're going into, right? And technically, pretty much you can build anything, but if you don't know the area, the journey, the customers that you're going into, then there's a lot of guesswork, and you'll have to start from the scratch, and then just having these customer conversations from the very beginning, or like shadow, like in a job as for example, as a researcher in our case, right? But the good thing, if you can crack that, is like just having either like lived experience in the domain, and then also having somebody technical really helps at the beginning, right? Because you can do a lot of like prototyping and stuff like that. You can get to an MVP stage, and then you can start to have these very defined conversations. The rest of the team for us is like scattered around the world. So we have about 8 engineers, They work like all the engineering stuff, right? So some of them are AI focused, some of them are UI, UX, like front end focused, and some of them are like the server side, like back end engineers, right? So handle the database, handle the logic and stuff like that. And then we do have a marketing and sales team. So right now, Tashi is leading the marketing, sales, and the customer journey side of things, and he has help with other teams. And I'm doing the product, the engineering, and then the investor relation, that kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot of hats. Tashi,
So
you want to add
you're
something
more of
there?
a Steve Wozniak, and he's more of a Steve Jobs at this time.
Yeah. I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Funding. So it's just the two of you who co-own the company. Are there any external investors, venture capital, or any other angels or anything else? And are you looking for additional funding? And if that's something that students need to explore too, or you're fine for now and there is no
Can
need
you
right now?
talk a little bit about that? How would that look like students exploring funding for us?
Should they, if there is a need, and then what's the current situation? Have
Right.
you
So I'll
already
tell you the
taken
current
any?
situation. I mean, we'd love to get leads in and stuff like that, right? We can't really blast out on social that we are looking for funding because I think that violates some protocols from the SEC. But we have raised like a pre-seed last year in October, and we have these angels that can continue to support us in our journey, right? So we have that covered, but we want to raise venture like later this year. So we are looking for funding. We're looking for strategic venture fund that can open up like doors and sort of help us scale to the next step. Planning to close a round if possible by the end of this year, or at least like very early next year. And that's going to be our seed round. Other than that, like we just have like angels and uh, just like strategic people that not just give money but also provide some guidance and advice and stuff.
Okay. And then the last question before we go to the audience, current marketing and promotion. So one of the questions for students is what is the best way to promote this kind of company, this kind of product? So what would be the efficient, easy, cost-effective way to reach the potential buyers, decision makers? But what do you do now? What kind of tools, channels do you use to advertise your products?
Tashi, you want to take that one?
Yep. So we are very mindful of how we put ourselves out there, right? And I think before you think of all those things, I think it's really important to drill down, your ICP, ideal customer profile, or what they call is product market fit, right? So because otherwise you'll be casting a wide net, and then you could be wasting space, resources, time, right? I like to take fishing as an analogy, right? Like you want particular type of fish, you need to understand where that fish lives, what kind of bait does that fish respond to, and where do you need to go, and just understanding the pain points and all of that, right? So again, PMF or the finding ICP is one of the most challenging thing any company can go through, right? Because it's not static and it's very dynamic and it's constantly evolving. So first thing I would say is that you have to do your research to really understand um, who this product is for, right? And who would be an ideal customer for this kind of product. From then, what we have done so far is we used different AI tools, to reach out to more people. We use different SEO optimization techniques, strategies. We heavily use LinkedIn, and sometimes we'll also do a paid ad as well. But again, for paid ad, we want to make up a mind because there's that money involved, right? So you want to be absolutely sure that you are targeting that specific group of people because it's all about the messaging, right? If you're saying, hey, it can help you save a lot of time and cost, that applies to everyone. When something applies to everyone, it's not appealing. But when your customer sees that, hey, they need to have that feeling that this is exactly built for me, right? Oh, they totally nailed the problems that I have. So, you have to be a little strategic with that. But we use HubSpot, we use Phantom Busters, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, I mean,
Reddit, Product Hunt.
product packaging wise, Dr. Ross, what would be really interesting is as like students go and talk to all these customers and
Yeah,
really figure out their journey, right? We'll figure out the place where we want to reach them in, right? So if you do the four P's of marketing, we want to find the earliest spot that we can reach them in. Is it Facebook? Is it
right.
LinkedIn, right? I think we want to understand that from you guys, right? Once we know the journey, it becomes like much easier. And what kind of experiments can we run as far as the ICPs, right? Because I'm sure the
Mm-hmm.
students will come up with like, here's like 10 use cases or 10 folks that we think this would be applicable to, and then we were able to reach like three people in each space or however like you'll run this, right? Then we have some sort of a hypothesis, and we're happy to run these discovery kind of ads from our site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we have a demographic profile, maybe a psychographic job profile or something. We can run these ads by creating these simple Canva like um, diagrams or like these posters or something, right? And once we run that according to the impressions, we can do a very methodical hypothesis testing kind of workflow there, and I think that'll give us more clarity on who resonates both with the messaging as well as the product features, right? Given that there's so many variables, right? So we'll have to just like pick an experiment and go with it because there's the messaging piece. Did the messaging resonate to the people we targeted, right? So there's some experiment potential there.
Very good, very good. So I guess maybe then the last question, what kind of output from students would be of most interest to you, and maybe what kind of advice or information or action can make you say, wow, this is so good. What is the student's name? Maybe we want to add him to our or her to our team or hire internship or something like that. So what would be of most value that students can bring to you to really impress you, as I said, to the point that maybe you would even be interested in exploring possible collaboration with them?
Yeah, so for me, it is like just getting bootstrapped and understanding the exact product features, who is it for, right? The customer journey, and then coming up with a almost like a plan to conversion, right? So that funnel that that you probably already aware of in terms of like MBA type
Mhm.
like workflow marketing, right? So if this is this journey, where are the touch points? And these are the experiments that we can run in each touch point, right? If we can bring this clarity and run some of that, and we'll be happy to collaborate on running those experiments, right? And then we get some tangible output, right? We learn something. It's a
Right.
nugget of insight that we can use. I think that's super valuable for us, even more so than converting to revenue, right? If it converts to revenue, that's just a very strong signal that that experiment worked, right? So that would
Exactly,
be the
exactly.
ultimate
Real life
case.
test. So yeah, if you think it
Right.
works, show us that it actually works. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Mhm.
If we can get it to the end like that, then it would be super impressive.
Yeah. Very good. All right, students, we are right at 45 minutes where we want to end. If you have any other burning questions for the founders here about Qualz.AI, now is your time to ask anyone before I start talking about the project in general, not related to this company. Okay, well, no questions. Hopefully it means that everything is clear. No more questions. So very good. So I saw questions about which company or how do we know which company you work for. There was a question about I did the test, but I'm not on the team yet. Do you guys read the training module? AI is a tricky thing. So I noticed that some people use ChatGPT to get the answers without even reading them. So the companies, you have them on the resource page. So there are about 9 of them, I believe, this semester, and you can choose any of those companies. So go to xculture.org 2025 2A, and you will see the full list there. You can choose any company, you can change them. So this one is very interesting. I highly recommend Qualz.AI. It seems like a very interesting cutting edge product. So you will learn a lot by working on this specific challenge, but you can choose any other company. Teams, as I said, we have about 2,000 people on Teams already. I added another 450 this morning and we'll send the emails right after this meeting. So you know what your teams are, and we have about 600 people on the wait list who have not completed the readiness test yet. So the next batch of teams will be formed on Monday. So if you haven't done it yet now, do it by Monday and we will place you on a team at that time. So yes, the rest training module will give you all of the answers. You will get the names and email addresses of your team members first. Then you connect and then you can communicate whichever way you want. And all you need to do this week is just get in touch with your team. And by the end of the next week, select the company that you will be working on the challenge. So we will have all of the company introduction webinars done by the end of next week. So this way, you know the founders, you know the CEOs, you know the company product, you see the company description. So based on that, hopefully you will be able to select the company that you feel you can help the most. All right, so Prajwal, Tashi, any parting thoughts, comments, requests?
Yeah, I think there was a question there, but let me just like wrap up from my side, and we're happy to answer the question. So, I mean, we are an earlier stage company, right? So we are going through this process of just understanding our customers, kind of figuring out our product. So it might seem a little bit messy, but I think that's where a lot of the learning is. So if you guys want to get involved, we will be super involved from our side as well, because we are trying to figure it out on our own, right? So it's going to be super helpful for us. I think impact wise, there'll be a huge impact to us, and then we will reciprocate by just being available, answering any questions, using our team for anything that is not in your wheelhouse. So we'll plan to be very team minded through the time for this entire project.
Right.
Very good.
Yes. So I have listened through this conversation. Dr. Vaz have been asking about the product, customer, price, operation, and the team. So I do have specific about customer because Plajwa mentioned you have client from Europe. May I ask, the Europe client come to you is because they need a service from your company to collecting the data information from US base because they're going to expand in their service or products? Is like that case?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So we've had like people come in inbound, right? We are not doing a whole lot of like marketing or ads, so to speak, right? We're only doing organic content. So everybody that's coming to us either found us on like Google or ChatGPT or something, and they got routed to us, right? So need wise, it's both. Like some people want to talk to their European base, but others want to talk to their either like a new base of customers in the US or just some existing ones. For example, I'll give you an example of a media company and that serves the whole world, but it's like headquartered in Europe, right? So they want to understand the specific needs of the African customer base, the US customer base, the Indian customer base, right? So before it used to be that they need to have like some research liaison in each of these countries that run all these like research projects and stuff like that, right? But now with Qualz.AI and tools like us, you can run these, create these interviews in one language, deploy them in multiple languages. So that's one big benefit. But the other benefit is also that you can run like 1,000-person interview, right? Which was not possible. So that's what's exciting. And one strong thesis that we have is that this market will keep expanding and people will see the capabilities and they'll want to do more and more, right? As long as we can provide the quality at the analysis side. So that's what excites people, I think, and really like 95% of primary research with interviews will be done by AI in the next few years, right? So it's going to be a quick uptick, I think. So that's how we're getting some of the European clients as well.
For
So
this type of
yeah, I'll
client,
just add something to
sorry.
it, something relevant. So our product our value proposition is that there is no linguistic barriers, no geographical barriers, no time zone, because it all happens whenever the participant wants, right? But when it comes to real business, those are the barriers, and
Yeah,
not because of a product, but because of compliance and server location and security, and every country has their own policies, right? So those are the
True.
things we need to think. But I think once that's figured out, it's pretty much like can be used anywhere, everywhere. So.
Right. This will be part of the concern or idea. So we need to keep us your company growing global wise, right? Because on the challenge you have mentioned that you want to expand your company to be international, like a country policy, like a yeah, these types of things and legal stuff. I did see so for this type client, do you introduce them the enterprise plan?
Correct.
Or will they?
We have to. We
Yes.
have to for anybody that is in Europe, especially, right? We don't have clients right now in Australia, but we just need to get them on the conversation for enterprise because we'll have to deploy a server and put them into a place where the data does not leave their area and stuff like that, right? So target wise, we'd love to just like expand into the US. There's so much more in the US that is untapped, right? However, we're not saying no to like international clients as well, right? But we are not going and saying, okay, we'll run a targeted ad campaign in Europe or something, right? We'll just take that on the slow route after we get like a few customers. We'll be set up to expand more quickly. But right now we have to get them on a call, understand their data requirements, talk with our legal. So it's a little bit of a slow onboarding process for European clients.
So for that, do you have your legal team to consult him because it's
Right.
international legal term? Gotcha.
We do, yeah.
Uh, gotcha. So back to that
I will add,
enterprise plan.
Jan, I'll add. So I actually wanted to use Qualz AI's product for AI-assisted oral exams. So the readiness test that you guys do, we wanted to do it as an interview with AI. And so the company even was willing to create a custom solution for that. The problem we ran into is the European universities are very afraid to violate the European data protection law. And they said, oh, so where the data will be stored and stuff. I'm like, I think it will be fine. The company is not going to sell your data, but they're even afraid to touch anything that they're not 100% sure about. And since Xculture must have either all universities or none, so, and we have a lot of universities in Europe. So for us, all of a sudden, that legal issue became a problem. So very disappointing.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find a solution because that would be very, very helpful to me. So I'm not sure if it would be applicable to businesses as well, but I ran into that strange. I thought it would be all technical. Turns out it's legal. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yes. Sensitive informations. So I was trying to get, do you have a standard price plan under each of the plans? And then from there you build up. For example, you have European customer come to you, you talk with them after you get all the information from your customer, you create a plan for the customer. Do you have a basic plan built up on that one for each customer? And based on that, you charge on different package.
Yeah, we do. We can send you a quote. I don't know, like I guess Dr. Taras, we can send you like a sample quote we are sending to clients,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yes,
then that.
please.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so
right.
much. Great questions,
Thank
everyone. Thank
you.
you, John, for engaging directly. So, yeah, let's see what you guys come up with. Hopefully, in
Okay.
5 years, when Qualz.AI is a unicorn, so they will say, "Oh, that was that Xculture project that helped us," and so and come back
It's
to us and
exciting.
sponsor
It's
a few
exciting.
students to go to the Xculture symposium, wherever it will be at that time. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Have a nice weekend, everyone,
Hey,
and yeah, can't wait to see what you
Thank
come up
you.
with based on your research.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
okay.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.